everybody, I'm Nicole, and today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what are the signals of relaxation or the signs of relaxation. So because we know the horse is a prey animal, we know that that means that horses spook. And why do they spook? Because they're afraid. And why do they spook? Because they're afraid. Well, they're a prey animal, so they are in a position as the animal that they are to potentially get eaten. I know a lot of people say that, well, my horse isn't experiencing anything that's actually going to eat them, but you cannot change the thousands of years or however long of genetics that have designed the horse to be prepared for flight or fight or freeze because they're a prey animal. Some of the signals that show our horse coming into relaxation, and it's important for our horse to find relaxation because without relaxation, they cannot learn. So if you're in a fearful state, you're not gonna remember the things that you learn. If you're in more of a relaxed state, you're really gonna take in all that information and it's gonna be more long lasting. And that's why sometimes certain training methods that push the horse to a point where they have to fight and then they go through freeze and it seems like they got over it or they learned it, and yet the next week you have to redo it all over, or like 2 months later you go to do something with that horse and it acts like they know nothing. Granted, 2 months later, they might be a little rusty, but they shouldn't just lose everything that you've worked on. Here are some of the relaxation signals. You have what the ears are doing. Oftentimes when they start to get relaxed, they'll kind of lop down and they'll just be easy to move. They won't be like rigid one way or the other. The eyes, you'll see the eyes start to soften. You can look for the wrinkles above the eye. If they have a lot of wrinkles above the eye, they're kind of holding tension up like this. When they start to relax, you'll see that wrinkles start to subside, but then you'll also see them start to blink. Sometimes you'll see the third eyelid roll back. The muzzle really is telling. So when they're feeling nervous or tense, or say they're holding on to pain, you'll see the nostrils are held up and they're wrinkled. Even if they're standing still, you'll just see those wrinkled nostrils. You'll also see lips that are tight. Sometimes when they're twitching, if the lips are twitching as you're going to do things, that could be a sign that the horse is starting to come into tension. But also, when you see twitching, sometimes it's them coming out of tension. Again, reiterating that's important to read the whole face and read the whole horse. Other sign of relaxation is licking and chewing. So this is a really important one because what it does is it activates the mobility of their jaw, but it also reintroduces saliva. And when they lick and chew and they're reintroducing saliva, that is showing that they are going into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where they're going to rest and digest. Saliva is super important to buffer their stomach whenever they're eating. Another sign of relaxation is yawning. So yawning does not mean that they're tired. Yawning is a release. Yawning is this kind of feeling, letting go of the TMJ here behind the head, and just yawning is a part of a release. You could see yawning at any time in your session, but oftentimes people see it at the end because that's when everything's done and we've released the horse and the horse is like, okay, I'm gonna let it all go. If I have a horse that's holding a lot of tension, doesn't lick and chew or anything, I want to find the spot that they're going to yawn. Because if I haven't found that spot that they're going to yawn, I know that they're still hanging on to a lot of stuff. Another signal of relaxation is when they rub the side of their face on their leg. So you'll see them go like this, and sometimes horses can be trotting along and they'll just dead stop, so they have to do that. You'll see horses when they yawn and lick and chew, then they kind of reach down and scratch their cannon, and then they come back up. I've heard a couple of reasons why that is. I think it could be because, or some people have said it could be because there's acupressure points between the cannon and the face, and when they work on those together, it continues sending them into a further state of relaxation. It could be just a plain, my face is being tense and I need to relieve it and scratch it. Sometimes it's because their eye is watery and they need to rub their eye. So again, you read the whole horse. Another sign of relaxation is shaking the neck and or shaking the whole body. So you see them kind of come to the spot where they kind of start to relax and then they just, and that's a sign that they're coming down. Another sign, and the last sign, is when they exhale. So you're trotting along and when you start riding the horse, they're feeling a little bit of tension sometimes, and so you're trotting along and then they just and they just exhale real big. That's a sign that the horse is breathing, and you need him to breathe. You don't want him to hold his breath, because if he's holding his breath, he's not gonna move to the highest quality that he could. I hope that was helpful, learning a little bit about what signs of relaxation that you should be looking for. And I just urge everybody to make sure that they're reading the whole horse. And just because you see a lick and chew does not mean that they're actually relaxed. Relaxation needs to be an active thing, meaning so as they're going through their sessions and as they're spending time with you, they are actively relaxing. If they're not actively relaxing and you just see one here and one there, and it's really tiny, you know they're still holding on to a lot of physical and mental tension. So it's important that we see relaxation actively happening in our session, but we also don't want to get our horses to where they're just so relaxed, they're just standing there completely just unengaged and dead to the world. There's a balance to everything. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.